We're back here on HQ Spotlight, where NFL training camps are underway, and we continue to go through each division and give you one reason for optimism. And NFC West fans, we're talking to you now, specifically picking on the 49ers here in the official reunion between San Fran and newish defensive coordinator Robert Saleh.
Whether they're veterans or young, the expectation is that you get better throughout the course of the year, regardless. Whether you're a 10-year vet or a young rookie taking his first snap, you go to bed better than when you woke up every day of life. And that's so the expectation, regardless of how old we are, is to get better.
So let the positive vibes commence as we give you one reason for optimism for each team in the NFC West with Mike Renner and John Breech, who are back with us. And Mike, we begin with the 49ers here.
To me, it's this revamped run defense. Last year, they were the fourth worst run D in terms of EPA per rush against. And if you go look at the worst run defenses in the NFL, there was only one of the 12 worst run defenses that made the playoffs, and that was the Washington Commanders because they had an elite offense. So run D really matters, obviously, in the NFL to long-term success. And in the draft, they added 3 of what I would say were my 5 favorite run defenders in the entire draft. Michael Williams, their first rounder out of Georgia, Alfred Collins, their second rounder out of Texas, and then CJ West, their fourth rounder out of Indiana. Those 3 guys are going to transform their run defense very, very quickly. That's something that has to happen. They lost numerous games down the stretch because they could not get that last stop. If they get that last stop this year, I think we see a playoff team in San Francisco.
And as Mike just mentioned, they did use their first 2 picks on defensive players because they didn't need to revamp their offense. All they had to do was wait for everyone to finally get healthy, and that appears to be happening. When Christian McCaffrey went down, his Achilles injury kind of started during training camp, and he ends up missing 13 games. Well, he's your most dynamic player. He completely transformed that offense. He allows Kyle Shanahan to do exactly what he wants when he's calling plays. So for Christian McCaffrey, if he is out there and healthy, this offense is going to look completely different, and he instantly makes the 49ers a Super Bowl contender. And really, it wasn't just McCaffrey. I mean, you had Brandon Ayuk miss 10 games. He's coming back from the torn ACL. We don't know if he'll be out there in week 1, but he will be out there eventually. Trent Williams, their starting left tackle, missed 7 games. So this team has just been battling injury after injury after injury, and we're looking at that long list of guys who missed multiple games. So now, if this 49ers team is fully healthy, this is a team that was in the Super Bowl in 2023. There is no reason they cannot be a Super Bowl contender this year as long as they can stay healthy.
Yeah, I feel like every goal surrounding the 49ers should start with if healthy, right? Let's go ahead and pivot here and check in with the Rams, who really ever since Aaron Donald retired have made it a priority to rebuild this defense that's young at the moment, but looking promising. Some of that young talent is taking measures into their own hands to make sure to fill that void that Donald left. Here's Jared Verse on the steps he's taking.
How do training camp workouts compare to workouts with Aaron Donald?
I do these every day of the week, 2 times a day. No doubt about it. That workout was psychotic. I'm never doing that again. He did change my workout routine, though. Now my workouts don't hit no more, so I had to go a little harder.
Today, practice team defense was flying around. What would you say overall the team's energy was today?
That's how we are. That's how our defense is. Our defense is loud. We really get after it, everything like that. Our offense was definitely making the plays. Puka was definitely catching that ball across the middle, doing some big plays, so we're going to have to fix that. But that's how he is as a defense.
Yeah, a workout with Aaron Donald just doesn't seem like something I would voluntarily want to do. But, Mike, they say if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. But you can also learn from them, too. Just how much better should this D-line be in L.A.?
Well, they could be the best. I mean, this realistically could be the best pass rush in the NFL. They were one of the best pass rushes in playoff history last year. They tied the single-game sack record for the playoffs against the Vikings with 9. They had the 4th most sacks in a playoff run all time, and they only played 2 playoff games. So this is a defensive line that not only did just that, they are young. Their core, the 4 guys that really made that big impact, they're all within their first 2 years of the NFL. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Byron Young, Kobe Turner. That means they're all getting better still. And they added Poona Ford, Josiah Stewart to this unit in the 3rd round that, man, adding to a unit that was already near the top of the NFL last year, it could be a very, very scary unit for years to come.
Yeah, it sounds like the Rams, they were good on defense last year. They could be great this year, and I think that's the same way for the offense. Very good last year, could be great this year, and that's a big reason for that is because you're going to have Matthew Stafford Throwing to Davante Adams, I think it gets forgotten that Matthew Stafford kind of poked around to see if any team would trade for him. So he almost left LA until they were able to restructure that contract, keep him there probably for the remainder of his career. And now this team feels like a Super Bowl contender because you do have the Stafford to Davante Adams connection, the Stafford to Puka Nacua connection. And when you look at Adams specifically, last season he played in 2 bad offenses with the New York Jets and Las Vegas Raiders, and he still managed to hit the 1,000-yard mark. So when you look at what he's done over the course of the past few years, he's gone over 1,000 yards in each of the past 5 seasons, and now he is going to be catching passes from Matthew Stafford, who's probably the best quarterback he's had since 2020 or 2021 when Aaron Rodgers was still in his prime. So you could easily see Davante Adams hitting 1,300, 1,400, or 1,500 yards with Matthew Stafford throwing him the ball. Obviously not great that Matthew Stafford's dealing with some back stuff early in training camp, but he's old. That happens to old people. The Rams are playing it smart with him. Let him rest. He'll be ready to go in week 1, and I do think the Rams offense will be extremely explosive this year.
Seems like good news all around for the Rams. Elsewhere, a brand new bombshell has really entered the villa in Seattle. You like that, right?
I love that.
That was one for the millennials there. Actually, a few, though. That includes quarterback Sam Darnold, receiver Cooper Kupp. Here's more, you guys, from Darnold on how things have really been going on for the offense in Seattle.
First and foremost, I think we're going to be able to run the football. Clint's offense, the system that we have, the coaches that we have to be able to teach run game are some of the best in the NFL, in my opinion. And so we're going to do that, and then we're going to play action. And when we get an opportunity to drop back and throw the rock a little bit, on second and medium, second and long, and then third down situations, obviously we're going to push the ball down the field.
All right, so chemistry seems to be brewing there, of course, once again, because Darnold served as a backup to 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy when Kubiak was the passing game coordinator in 2023. But with that, John, should we expect this known chemistry to take this offense pretty far in 2025?
Yeah, I think that absolutely helps, because if you have Sam Darnold, who has had some iffy points in his career, we saw him play with the Jets, we saw him play with the Panthers, was not very good. Then obviously caught lightning in a bottle last season with the Minnesota Vikings, where he had a career season. So if Darnold was going into Seattle and starting from scratch, I'm not sure how much confidence I would have in him. But the fact that he is working with an offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, who he is familiar with, I think that helps. And the fact that he seems totally on board with Kubiak's plan of, hey, let's run the ball, let's pound the rock. That takes some pressure off of Darnold. You don't have to rely solely on his passing skills to carry the offense. So I do think the Seahawks can have a very good offense this season. Sam Darnold's going to have to handle pressure. He took a little bit step back going from Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. But I do think that Sam Darnold can be good, and the fact that Kubiak's there, who led a very good Saints offense the first 2 weeks of last season. So I do think Seattle will be okay despite losing Geno Smith.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Breech. And Darnold in the clip said that, in his opinion, they're some of the best run game teachers in the NFL they have there now. It's an opinion I share, and that's one of the reasons I'm very optimistic about them is they can teach the run game, and they have the pieces in this new look offensive line to be effective in the running game. You go back to last year, they were so banged up, whether it was Abe Lucas on the right side, the interior of that offensive line, draft Grey Zabel in the first round, Christian Haynes now comes in, your third rounder from a year ago, and Abe Lucas should be back healthy this year. And what they have up front are athletes. They are not people movers up front. They are on the lighter side. But what Clint Kubiak does is run outside zone until the cows come home. And an outside zone, you need guys that can run sideline to sideline. So they have that kind of speed to execute the scheme Clint Kubiak wants to run. And for those reasons, I think this is at least going to be an effective running game, and that's going to take some pressure off of Sam Darnold.
All right, lastly here, you guys, in Arizona, this defense, specifically this Arizona pass rush, will lean on all of the experience from Calais Campbell, who makes his return to the Cardinals, but this time has the knowledge of what it takes to be on a championship team.
Obviously, it takes time, but, teams that execute, teams that don't beat themselves, guys are where they're supposed to be. You got to have talent, guys that, can get the job done. But a winning team definitely is you see it, it's there, and, too early to tell for this team, but you know, it looks good so far. You know, but the writing will be on the wall once we get the pads on and start moving around and really playing some real football.
That's fair. Too early to tell. Mike, what are your expectations from Arizona and this Cardinals pass rush now featuring Calais Campbell this time around?
Yeah, I don't think it's too early to tell that it's going to be a lot better than it was week 1 last year. You just go through the sheer number of additions. I can't remember a team that added more to their defensive line over the course of 12 months than this Arizona Cardinals team. And they got a couple guys back from injury is big. B.J. Ojulari, who was a second-rounder in 2023. Darius Robinson, who was your first-rounder last year. Neither of those guys were healthy week-long last year. They traded for Baron Browning midseason, then extended him. They signed Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, the aforementioned Calais Campbell over the course of the offseason. And then they drafted Walter Nolan and Jordan Burch in the first and third rounds, respectively. That is an unbelievable transformation of what they've done to this defensive line. So Jonathan Gannon, his first 2 years have been plagued by having the blitz to get a pass rush, having the blitz to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. That's not going to be the case anymore, and the whole bag of tricks is open at his disposal if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm going to absolutely echo what Mike just said here. I'm not going to mention all the moves he just said because that will take 6 minutes. Look, Jonathan Gannon, it feels like, is trying to build the Philadelphia Eagles, the Western version of the Eagles. You look how Philadelphia is able to generate pressure. They're not blitzing all the time. They were able to win the Super Bowl because they were just beating up on Patrick Mahomes. And so I think that is what Jonathan Gannon wants to do. That's why they've made so many defensive moves this offseason so that you can slow down a 49ers offense or a Rams offense or a Seahawks offense. And then you look at the other side of the ball, you have Kyler Murray at quarterback. You have Marvin Harrison, who should take a big leap forward in year 2. So I think the Cardinals are quietly one of those teams floating under the radar. I've actually been impressed with Jonathan Gannon has done. He only won 4 games his first year, doubled that total in year 2, and I think the Cardinals can even improve upon that in year 3, which means you're going up into 500 territory, possibly double-digit wins. So just based on what Gannon has done with his defense so far, I feel like the Cardinals could maybe be a wild card contender this year.
Hot take there. All right, gentlemen, incredible insight as always. You can watch the Arizona Cardinals and the entire NFC West on CBS this season. The countdown is on and it returns September 7th. You can watch your local game live always on CBS or, of course, stream on Paramount+.